Tonight, borders shut and restrictions returned. Now, South Australian authorities are trying to avoid a second COVID wave. And Spencer Gulf tourism, hospitality and sporting businesses prepare for reduced capacity once again.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf studios, your nightly news with Ruby Kamain begins now.
Good evening, everyone. The fallout of Adelaide's COVID-19 cluster has spread across all of South Australia, with restrictions returning coming into effect today. Tonight, we bring you our coverage of mass testing results, as well as how Spencer Gulf tourism, hospitality and sporting bodies are preparing for a potential second wave. Authorities have been scrambling for much of today to get ahead of the cluster and contact trace thousands of residents, with the expected nationwide border reopening next month now in doubt.
After an anxious 24-hour wait, the news came in. 5 new COVID cases recorded in South Australia.
We've now got around 4,000 people who are close contacts who are quarantined.
Authorities have been scrambling to get ahead of yesterday's COVID cluster. A record-breaking 11,000 tests have been conducted over the past 48 hours.
This is nothing short of sensational and will be a record for South Australia.
The Premier taking a hardline approach by reimposing restrictions. From today, all gyms and rec centres have been shut down for 2 weeks, while community sport has also been cancelled. Capacity at churches has been slashed to 100 people, while funerals are capped at 50. No changes have been made to weddings. Pubs, clubs and restaurants are capped at 100, while private residents are limited to 10 people.
We are not out of the woods yet. We are just at the beginning stages of dealing with this particular very nasty cluster in Parafield.
The cluster breaking South Australia's 215-day streak of no community transmission. The expected nationwide border reopening next month now up in the air. Western Australia, the Northern Territory, Queensland and Tasmania have all slammed their borders shut to SA, while Victoria has declared the state a hotspot but is still open. New South Wales has also increased health checks on arrival.
We will beat the cluster at Parafield, but we must do it together, working together, listening to the restrictions and, again, getting ourselves tested.
Scenes of deja vu at shopping centres as panic buying returns, authorities calling for calm.
If we all do the right thing, we could shut this one down too.
Schools have been given the green light to remain open. Nathan Rector, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
That panic buying has certainly set in across the state, with many regional supermarkets back to having empty shelves. Food outlets now reintroducing item limitations to ensure more customers have access to staple goods. Effective from today, toilet paper will be limited to 2 packs only at all Coles supermarkets and Coles Express stores across the state. Whyalla Foodland also increasing restrictions, applying a 1 limit item rule to toilet paper, hand sanitizer, pasta and rice. The new restrictions have once again landed hard on our hospitality and tourism industries, just as they were starting to find their feet. Many business owners now face an uncertain future, not knowing how long restrictions may last.
This is the Little Beans Play Cafe less than a month ago. Today, it's one of many businesses keeping its doors closed.
Interrupts me because I can't plan. I don't know where to go from here.
Despite already taking precautions to keep customers safe, play cafes aren't allowed to operate under the new restrictions. Amy's been forced to cancel 9 children's parties and call her staff to tell them there simply isn't any work.
It has been an emotional rollercoaster. The cancelling of those parties were really rough. Had to disappoint 9 families.
Tourism also in the firing line, with density restrictions and crowd limits returning. For the Clare Valley's wineries, stand-up drinking is also off the table and non-essential travel strongly discouraged.
And this sort of thing will have a, not a negative reaction, but there will be, a change in how we do things.
Many operators say business has been booming since the first COVID restrictions were eased, and it's hoped most will be able to survive another shutdown, so long as it's short.
We have had really good visitation and above expectations for any given year.
While it's hoped the restrictions will only be in place for 2 weeks, that all depends on what happens in the next 48 hours.
Premier's really hopeful that we can shut this down in 2 or 3 weeks. Let's hope we can.
And if the situation worsens, there is some business support for a ring of steel separating Adelaide from regional South Australia.
I would love to do that. Let's have our stores remain open.
Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Meanwhile, sport across the state has been put on pause, with multiple club games set to be scheduled for 2 weeks' time. Whyalla's Recreational Centre gym is among many regional sporting facilities forced to close its doors today, causing many employees to be stood down for that period.
It's an all too familiar scenario for those who attend this Whyalla gym.
It's obviously disappointing, but we've got through it before, we'll get through it again.
Locals squeezing in a last-minute gym session yesterday following the South Australian government's lockdown announcement. This usually busy gym car park today completely empty.
So when we were closed last time, we obviously we implemented a whole heap of new cleaning procedures and hygiene stations, sanitising stations for equipment and whatnot. So we've still got all of those things in place.
For local cricket player Sam Dorr, his season in Whyalla only just started a few weeks ago.
It's quite frustrating to only have played a few rounds and to be shut down again, but I think we've just got to do what's best for the community.
Like many, he's wanting to get through the 2 weeks as soon as possible to be able to return to playing the game he loves.
The scheduling might go a little bit into the air, but I'm sure once we can get back on the park, it'll all sort itself out.
Under the new state lockdown guidelines, gyms, recreation centres, trampoline and play cafes will be closed for an expected duration of 2 weeks. Community sport and training also temporarily cancelled, applying to indoor and outdoor contact and non-contact sports. Outdoor fitness activities are still allowed.
The closure of sport or the closure of sporting clubs will always be detrimental, but I'm sure that the clubs in town are all super passionate and will be able to get through.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
There is some relief on the way, however, for those expected to financially struggle. Paid pandemic leave of up to $1,500 is now available to South Australians. Eligible people include those who have been instructed to self-isolate or quarantine at home following public health direction, or anyone who has returned a positive COVID-19 result. Today's other news coming up next as young volunteers get their hands dirty to help clean up Port Augusta, and more than $1 million in cash seized at a South Australian border point. Hello again. Port Augusta's Clontarf Foundation has been hard at work this morning, cleaning up sandhills near the Shoreline Caravan Park. In collaboration with the City Council, the young helpers say it's a great feeling to lend a hand.
It may have been a bright and early start this morning, but these volunteers from Port Augusta's Clontarf Foundation were ready to use their free time to help clean up the community.
Beer glasses, mattresses, pillows, stuff like that.
We're just helping out our local community.
In partnership with Council, the clean-up sessions are part of what the Foundation stands for.
Volunteering is a big part of our program. It links in with our leadership pillar and an opportunity for our boys to give back to the community.
Academy leaders saying it makes them proud to see the boys band together.
Yeah, I get proud, as do my staff, anytime our boys do something that isn't really expected of them.
Leaving a positive mark on the community, setting a good example for local youth.
It helps spread the word about these young fellas getting out there and doing the right thing.
While being rewarded for their efforts with a bacon and egg breakfast.
They get up nice and early today. They've achieved something or a few things for the day already, a lot more than plenty of other students might have done. And they get rewarded with a nice hot feed.
Residents are encouraged to say hello to the boys if they see them around.
The boys will come and say hello to anyone that's around the place. So if you see the Clontarf logo or anything, by all means come and have a yarn.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A Mid-North man has been arrested after he was allegedly caught with more than $1 million and drugs in his car. Police locating the cash after searching the 51-year-old's Holden ute at the Oodlawira checkpoint just before midnight Saturday.
Our officers do a really good job out at the border. This is really, really good police work, which has uncovered a considerable amount of money.
Investigations then led officers to search 3 properties in the Barossa and Mid-North, arresting another man after police say hydroponics equipment was found. Stay with us after the break. 2 Port Lincoln seafood companies win the top gong at the SA Food Awards, and a man arrested after pushing a wheelbarrow full of allegedly stolen goods. 2 Port Lincoln seafood businesses have taken out the top gong at this year's SA Food and Beverage Industry Awards. Dinko Tuna Farms and Yumbar Hatchery recognised in the Export Award category.
Under the watchful eye of her late husband, Lucina Lucan is pioneering the tuna industry.
For me to follow his footsteps, he would be proud of me.
Dinko Tuna Farm is continuing to shine in the seafood capital, the company taking out not 1 but 2 trophies at this year's SA Food and Beverage Awards.
When we get the announcement for the winner, it's very exciting, it's very good.
The company winning the Export Award alongside Port Lincoln shellfish company Yumbar Aquaculture. Since taking over the reins at Dinko Tuna Farms almost a decade ago, Lucina has helped expand the international tuna market, utilising freezing technology.
We find that it's a good quality, so that's why I decided to build my own processing facility here.
Despite COVID throwing a spanner in the works, she says the company has bounced back, partly by thinking outside the box on what consumers want. Dinko now bans storing smaller pieces of tuna to help expand its domestic market.
Even the restaurant hotel got benefit of this because a smaller portion they can use it for like a few days or even for 1 day. It's easier.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A Port Pirie man has been arrested after police spotted him pushing a wheelbarrow full of allegedly stolen goods on Senate Road early Monday morning. Officers were patrolling Port Pirie West following a series of break-ins over recent nights when police say they noticed the man acting suspiciously.
If anyone has lost those or had them stolen, we encourage you people to contact Crime Stoppers.
Police are trying to reunite the stolen tools with their owners. Stay with us after the break. Katrina Musson will join us with this week's Sports Wrap, and we'll have all the weather details with Alex. Welcome back. Now time to check out some weekend sporting results from across the region. Saturday's weather was almost perfect for softball, despite the heat taking its toll on some players. Our reporter Katrina Musson has more.
With sport cancelled for at least the next 2 weeks mid COVID-19 restrictions, today we're talking weekend softball and basketball results. In Port Pirie softball, Checkmates took on Solly Cats, with the Cats cementing an early lead, bringing in 10 runs in the first innings. Checkmates' Gabby Dunning put in a solid performance at second base with 4 field outs, and Sharon Coombe was a strong lead-off batter with 2 safe hits and a couple of field outs. But Solly Cats were no match for Checkmates, defeating them by 14 runs. In the other match, and Tigers' first field innings saw them pile on 9 runs. Chloe Hoare took a screamer of a catch at centre field to dismiss Brooke Waldhooter. Cougars plugged away with a single, a couple, then 4 runs, which put them 5 runs behind with last bat, finishing with a draw against Tigers. Over to Whyalla softball, and the season returned with a double-header over the weekend. Friday night saw the Eagles take on the Tigers to win by 5 runs. The second game was a little closer, Roadrunners beating Indians by 1 run. On Sunday, and Tigers thumped Roadies 9-4, while the other game saw Eagles continue their winning streak, beating Indians by 4 runs. With no home run fence this year, Gloria Colson remained in good form, bringing home 4 home runs for the Eagles. Now over to Port Pirie basketball, and the Ducks narrowly escaped Tomcats, leading with a 6-point win. And Pacers trampled Globetrotters with an 8-point lead. In Port Augusta basketball, and Wildcats defeated the Eagles with a 12-point win. Cobras were no match for the Titans, leading to win by 38 points. Around the Gulf at Whyalla, and it was a close win for the Wildcats, leading over the Braves by just 4 points. Roos leaping over Titans to win 55-43. Roos also taking out the match on court too with a 40-point win against Wildcats. And Wildcats fell short to Demons, losing by 22 points. And finally to Port Lincoln basketball, and Sharks took a bite out of Souths, finishing with a 9-point win. The other match saw Rangers 1 defeating Peckers to win by 13. And that's all for sport from across the region. If you would like your team's results featured, please let us know through our Facebook page.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Alex.
Thanks, Ruby. From 3 p.m. today, it was a warm, sunny day for Port Augusta with a high of 29. Port Pirie was sunny and 26, and the temperature was a bit milder in Coffin Bay with a maximum of 20 degrees. Looking further across the region, Cooper Pedy reached 31 degrees, 25 in Broken Hill. Woodner was 28. It was 24 in Whyalla and Kadina. Adelaide and Port Lincoln both had tops of 21. To the satellite now, bright high cloud over far northern SA near a trough is not producing any rain. High jet stream cloud is starting to move over the far southwest and is also not bringing any rain. Skies are generally clear elsewhere under a broad high pressure system. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Variable winds under 10 knots. Seas will be below 1 metre with south to southwesterly swells reaching just over 1 metre. Looking now at tomorrow's forecast, Port Lincoln will be mainly fine with a high of 30. Partly cloudy conditions for Cleve with 35 degrees. Woodner will be slightly warmer with 37. A mostly sunny day for Whyalla, 34. Similar conditions for Port Augusta and 37 degrees. Kadina partly cloudy and 33. 36 and mainly fine for Port Pirie. Clare 33 with some passing cloud cover, and Broken Hill will be sunny and 33 also. Taking a look further through the week now, and the very warm temperatures will continue throughout the region on Thursday. 40 degrees for Cooper Pedy and Port Augusta. Tops of 38 for Broken Hill and Whyalla. Port Pirie 37 and 32 degrees expected for Kadina and Adelaide. Friday will be mostly sunny and warm also. 40 degrees for Cooper Pedy, 33 in Port Pirie and Woodner. Broken Hill can expect a high of 35, 29 for Kadina, and Whyalla and Adelaide should have maximums of 27 degrees. And the warm conditions will extend into the weekend with more generally sunny conditions expected for Saturday. A high of 38 for Cooper Pedy, 37 for Broken Hill, 40 degrees the maximum for Port Augusta. Woodner and Port Pirie should reach 39, 34 for Kadina, and a degree cooler for Adelaide with the top of 33. So Ruby, the current stretch of warm, sunny conditions looks set to be with us for the rest of the week. And that's all the weather from me tonight. It's back to you.
Lovely. Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Tuesday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later. Until then, join me.